When we say children live what they learn and learn what they live, it is not just a redundancy or it's not cliche, but it is in fact that children live what they learn. And by virtue of learning, they learn what they live. Why do I say this? I had an experience earlier today where a child in grade 3 was able to make a racist remark against people of African descent. And it makes me to wonder what would have caused a child. Let us do an estimation of the child's age. Grade 3, I mean the child would be about 7, 8 years old, because normally you go to grade 5 at about 10, 11, grade 6 you go about 12 before you go into high school. So, and it's a standard right around the world, because wherever in the world you are, you'll find that the age is the same in terms of your schooling, in terms of your academic pursuit. So we could say safely that a child in grade 3 would be about 7 to 8 years old. What could cause a child 7 to 8 years old to want to discriminate a person of another ethnicity? Whether it is a Jamaican saying something about a Chinese, or sometimes we even have we make racist remarks even within our ethnicity, where a person might be mixed with what do you call those, when a child is mixed with two interracial relationship, where a child might be mixed with another race, and we see the child suffer those kind of remarks as well. But what could have caused a child at 7 to 8 years old to make such a racist remark against another race? It would have been that that child is exposed to such a thought, such an idea, such a concept, whether it is in the home, whether it is through social media, we could say the internet, or printed media, or visual media, or is a case where the child see it in the environment and say it. So there are a number of places where a child could possibly get a particular concept. It's not all the time we hear children say something. It simply means that, okay, it's the parents who teach the child to do that. Not in all cases. In some cases, the child might just predispose to it on social media, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or whatever social platform they use. Because we pretty much know that a number of children, they fake their age, they put wrong information on their profile, because you can't get on social media, whether it is Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp, or TikTok, under 18 years old. So what they do, they normally put a older age and their same name but older age, and they're able to create a profile, because it's not as if these social platforms are going to ask for a copy of their birth certificate before giving them access. No. So they can lie. You and I can also lie. I've seen where even adults lie about their age and their addresses and school that they have gone to create their profile. So children are doing the same thing. And perhaps they are learning from the environment by doing that. To say, okay, mommy and daddy put that they live in a different country or a different state or a different parish when they live here, and the child recognizes that, oh, mommy and daddy are liars. So I could lie too. That could also be learned from the environment. But not all the time the children learn from the parents. It could be from social media. It could very much be that the child is in the community and are exposed to certain thoughts, or they're on the public transportation or somewhere, right? But when it comes on to making racial remarks, such as a disregard for another race, it forced me to say that that particular child would have been predisposed to that racist comment in his or her home. So the child make a discriminated remarks against a teacher who is of African descent. Because I consider myself to be of African descent. Wherever in the world, I consider myself to be a part of the African diaspora. Doesn't matter where I am in the world, whether I'm born in Jamaica, I'm in Trinidad, even if I'm born in America, or born in Canada, or wherever in the world I'm born, once I have this skin complexion, I am an African. I consider myself to be of African descent. Now, there are a number of persons who take offense to that, and that's a whole different discussion for another time. A number of persons take offense to you saying that they're of African descent. Because until we started seeing this African movie coming out about some 5, 6, 7 years ago, we did not even know that Africa was so beautiful. This African movie that we see coming out showed us that, okay, oh, people just nice in Africa. Oh my. The most expensive and luxurious transportations are in Africa. We see Range Rover, we see Mercedes-Benz, we see the Lexus, we see the Audi, we see the BMW, we see the Chrysler, we're seeing the Bentley, we're seeing the Rolls-Royce, we're seeing all those expensive vehicles that we normally used to see in North America and England and places in Europe. We're seeing those in Africa. And these movies are showing us that, oh, African houses are furnished pretty well. They look really, really nice. They look really beautiful. And we're getting this idea as to, oh my, Africa is really beautiful. Because prior to that, 20, 30 years ago, when we're watching television, all we see in Africa is those documentaries about the jungles. The wildlife channel that we normally watch, or we get some CNN broadcast. That was mostly about some rugged places in Africa, or missionaries gone to do work in some of the most remote places in Africa. We were not seeing the beauty of the township of many African states. We were mostly seeing the rural areas, and that is common everywhere, because wherever you go in the Caribbean, wherever you go in North America, South America, wherever you go in the world, there's always rural areas. There's no country in the world which does not have a rural area. It's not just cities only, all right? But they only show us that part of Africa. So not until when we see those African movies, we get to see the beauty of Africa. And that, to some degree, may have an impact on a number of persons to say, oh, I do not have to be ashamed or afraid of being aligned with Africa. Because based on the history that we were taught, we were taught to hate Africa, not to love Africa. But we're now seeing in the media that, okay, we have beautiful places in Africa. So I consider myself, and a number of persons around the world may feel a little bit more better aligning themselves with Africa. But I've never ever felt embarrassed about Africa, because I know the history and the beauty of Africa long before we are seeing it on social media this much, and long before Facebook come 20 years ago and show us that, oh, woo, these are some people from Africa. They have internet over there. It's not just a jungle, right? So I consider myself to be an African. Whether I'm in Jamaica, I'm African. I call myself Jam African if I'm in Jamaica. If I become a citizen of United States, I will call myself African American. If I become a citizen of England, well, I'm not sure what you call yourself in England if you are from Africa, or I'm not sure what they call you in England. It's English African or African English. I'm not sure what phrase they use, but I know that I align myself with Africa. So wherever I go and I hear or see people make racist remarks about Africans, it offends me. I find it to be offensive. And I'm entitled to feel offended, because that goes for me too. So if somebody is going to say, okay, you people of African descent should not be within this space. Sorry. I find that to be offensive, because that could be me you're talking as well. Because whatever you say to anyone with regards to their race, that goes for me too. Now, if someone say, okay, I don't like Jamaicans, well, that doesn't go for black people. Because you have Chinese who are Jamaicans. You have people from multiple races who are Jamaican. And so I do not find it offensive if somebody say I don't like Jamaican. What if I'm from Trinidad and somebody say I don't like Jamaican? You know, I might look at them a particular way, but they did not say Trinidad. Or if I'm from Barbados and someone say, oh, I don't like people from St. Lucia, then I might look at them with a side eye and like, I wonder why. Right? So when you say you don't like a particular country, that's different. But when you say African, that goes for me. Because as far as I know, I am a black man. You know, I'm a black man. And so I'm going to feel offended. So when we see children making racist remarks regarding Africans, you know that they are exposed to these kind of concepts at home. And as I said before, the home is not the only place. It can be other entities as well, other areas of influence where they get the information from. But I am going to run the risk to say, look, those parents are making these remarks and this child feel comfortable to speak negative about people of African descent. And because of that, I find it to be very offensive. And I am going to look at that child now with a side eye. Though, yes, the child was not speaking to me directly. But as I said before, I align myself, I consider myself a black man, and I consider myself to be an African. It doesn't matter where in the world I am. The color of my skin dictates to me that I am from the continent of Africa. That's where my root is. My root is not in Europe. My root is not in Russia. My root is definitely not in Korea. My root is not in China. It's not in India. My root is nowhere at all in Cambodia. I can't find my root in Australia. I'm from Africa. My people are from Africa. And wherever in the world I am, I consider myself to be an African. So when people are making these racist comments and talking bad about Africans, they must remember, when you do that, a number of people in the world are going to look at you with a side eye, whether you're speaking to them or not, because they align themselves with the continent of Africa and they find it to be very offensive. And so children are coming out into the school system, children are out into the world who are coming and they're racist and they sit in front of you. If you work in the supermarket, there are going to be people who are coming inside the supermarket who hate Africans. And yes, they come, they might smile in your face, they might cash their goods, but they hate your guts. If you work at the gas station, there are persons who are coming to do business who do not even like to see you, would not invite you over to their house to even clean up their dog mess. But they do business with you, and because they're pleasant, they might give you a smile, but that doesn't mean that they like you. There are persons who are going to even come to your business place if you're a businessman. If you work at a tire shop, if you're a farmer, whatever you do, you're a doctor, there are persons who are going to come to the hospital where you work as a doctor who might take counsel from you or even take medicine from you, and they hate your guts. Alright? So racism is real against Africa. This is not something we can push underneath the carpet. And I don't think it is going anywhere. As much as Martin Luther King pushed it, Malcolm X pushed it, and there are a number of other civil rights leaders who have pushed it right across the world, right across Jamaica, all the way across the Caribbean. We have seen it. We have seen a number of heroes who have passed away, who have sacrificed their lives. When you look into Jamaica, all those national heroes, the Paul Bogle, the Samuel Sharp, the Marcus Garvey, Nanny of the Maroon, George William Gordon, all those men and women, the unsung heroes who have fought for independence, and those across Africa. Haiti was got independence before any other Caribbean country. Let me tell you, many people throughout history have fought this thing called racism, have fought for the black man to stand tall and to stand strong. But racism is not going anywhere. And there's nothing I can do as a black man to prevent racism. It was before me and it will be after me. What I can do, though, is to let those who are racist know that we're no pushover. Black people is no pushover. Alright? We're no come around. We're kings and we're queens. And I'm going to teach black youths, black boys and black girls who want to be black, to be proud to be black. And I say want to be black because there are a number of black boys and girls who, because of the same racism and this marginalization, they hate being black. They don't want to be black. And we are seeing it everywhere. And I'm not even going to touch the bleaching product. That's a whole different story for another time. I'm just simply saying that there are also people who are not bleaching or in their black skin who hate themselves, who do not love themselves. And they believe that they're cursed, and they believe that they're insufficient and insignificant because of the color of their skin. But let me remind us as Africans that we're great people. I'm not saying the Chinese are not great. No. I'm not saying the Indians are not great. I'm not saying the Russians are not great. I'm not saying the Europeans are not great. I could never say that. I'm just saying, I'm speaking for my race. I'm just saying that we're great and we're powerful. And wherever I go and people are making racist remarks against my people, I'm going to be offended. Whether they're speaking to me directly or not, I'm going to be offended.